public health relation. First on case, extend the public health advantage from the one I see the Genoa News 12 card that says the embargo restricts the flow of goods and creates strains and threatens the collapse of healthcare in Cuba. Extended the Eisenberg 97 that says we have a moral obligation to stop destructing their public health. And the Franks 12 that says lifting the embargo restores the flow and solves for living conditions. That completely went unattacked in the one in C, so you have reason to vote AF right there. On to CAP. On the ethics impact. Evaluation of the consequences of the utmost ethical act. Their ethics allows infinite violence. Williamson 5. The realist tradition, a commitment to the ethic of consequences reflects a deeper ethics of criticism, skepticism, and consequentialism are linked in an attempt to construct not just political responsibility, but also the kinds of actors who might adopt it and the kinds of social structures that might support it. The ethics thus involve the commitment to both the autonomy and limitation, to freedom and restraint, to an acceptance of limits of criticism, and limits of objectivity, in the sense of coming to terms with the reality of contextual conditions and likely outcomes is not necessary for success. It is vital self-reflection and sustained engagement with the practical and ethical adequacy of one's views and uncritical stance of abstract moralism, and avoid self-criticism by refusing to engage with the interactivity of the world as it is, reducing the world to the expression of their ideological program. They fail to engage with the reality and thus avoid the process of self-reflection at the heart of responsibility. A recognition of the limits of both reality is a condition for the recognition of one's own limits of the world is not simply an extension of one's own will, but is also the challenge to use that interactability as a social possibility as providing a source of openings, limits upon provide challenging and creative openings within which diverse forms of life can be developed and limited unity of the self and political order is a precondition of freedom. The opacity of the world is not of despair of it is a condition of possibility of the willful creative condition of self and the social order which embrace the diverse human potentialities. On the extinction, Marxism historically led to genocide. Kuhner and 3. Lenin's project resulted on an unprecedented economic and ecological destruction, but the greatest system mass murder of it. More than 100 million individuals were killed at the hands of communist regimes. Yet many Western academics continue to downplay the full extent of communist atrocities from its inception. The communism sought to forge a new order by some genocide and mass murder. Lenin set the precedent that to establish a revolutionary proletariat, the entire category of the human needs to be systematically wiped out. The bourgeois in intellectual theory reviews to follow the Bolshevik line. History has been littered with Lenin's able offspring, Stalin, Mao, Ho Chi Minh, Pol Pot. The atrocities committed by the dictator to be remembered, but because they revealed the seminal lesson of the past century. Utopianism leads to totalitarianism. The millions slaughtered by communist regimes were central to the market's product, and capitalist elites will resist causing global war. Harrison 2. If capitalism produces no widespread misery, then it also produces no fatal internal contradiction. If everyone is generally better off through capitalism, who will dream of struggling to overthrow it? Only general misery on the part of the workers would be sufficient to overturn the whole apparatus of the capitalist state, simply because Marx insisted the capitalist class could not be realistically expected to really control the state apparatus, and with the monopoly of force, Marx is absolutely correct. No capitalist society has ever willfully liquidated itself in the utopia and think that it ever will. Therefore, in order to achieve the goal of socialism, nothing short of a complete revolution will do in this. It means, in point of fact, in the full-fledged civil wars in not just one society, but across the globe. On to the Cuba link. Their link is incorrect. Cuba cannot be subject to globalization without succumbing to neoliberalism. Even if industry investment increased, anti-neoliberal resistance would be doomed. Shriven 12. Globalization no longer requires homogenization. Cuba does not need to adopt a neoliberal or Maoist version of economics to globalize and remain Marxist-Lenin while entering into the global economy. Cuba is the difference of globalization. One of a nation rather than making an additional change without regard to its shifting policies out of necessity and the need to thrive in a globalized and a changed world. Cuba, while symbolically isolated for the last 60 years, will not mean for globalization. Instead, Cuba is a global actor who configures itself to retain power in its new model of global engagement. Yet, global decision to gradually reform economic policies not been in isolation. Global will retain its ideological goal without a complete compromise or adhering to the other forms of governance that mark and serve socialism. On to Perm. Perm do the alt in the plan. Perm do the plan in the alt. Perm do the plan and reject capitalism. The permutation solves their universal demands argument. Universality only exists when practical struggles lay claim to universal politics. It's Butler and 4. Universal takes on life precisely when it exceeds the strategic intention of the speaker and is extremely mobile. Universality is actually being asserted precisely by the one who represents one of the species for growth for universality to take place. The notion of universality is its crisis. There must be something in that particular that is not as similarly universal. What happens when that particular, nevertheless, lays claim to the universal? It seems to me that the very notion of universality is brought into an extremely reductive crisis, and then we might have to get what what might be understood spectral innovations of the universal among those who have no established legitimate rights that makes the claim of universality, the discourse that has driven to crisis again and again, but the forecloses that makes one its members every articulate itself. The process of a universality is brought into crisis again and again by itself, and an open-ended one universality would not be violent or totalizing. It would be an open out in a process, and the task of politics would be able to keep it open, to keep it contested. It's not a persistent crisis, not to be left settled. The alternative leads to conservatism, fascism, liberal democracy, key to anti-capitalist struggle. Only the perm solves. McGowan 8. While liberal democracy is often a bare face of the influence, cultural manipulation going on, afforded to examine the nuances and level of contestation that emerge and unfold historically of being so dismissive, Holloway falls into the trap of the mistaking his principal strategy was potentially dangerous. Though coming error the level of principle of the Holloway is right, but where does this understanding give us what the discourse and resources are available for the facilitation of movement of struggles, while safeguards are available to extend social society from the totality left and right of fashioning responsible liberal democracy can and should not be so glibly dismissive. Life cannot merely dismiss in political gains as spaces is developed through liberal democracy for to do so as to merely hand the baton to the far right and fascist forces that would do away with any symbols of democracy and account really permanently would defend liberal democracy in space that creates wherever it exists in order to create anti-capitalist policies. The alt fails. The description of capitalism is fluid and monolithic and guarantees the resistance is co-opted. Gibson, Graham 6. Capitalism becomes not an uncentered diagram of practice, but an unstructured and systematic unit of potentially coexistence over the national or global economy as a whole, large, durable, and self-sustaining formation understood as the unified system of structured capitalism not only is not ultimately vulnerable to local and personal efforts of transformation, and such efforts can be subverted by capitalism in another scale and in another dimension, and the unity of capitalism converses with the mammoth task of systematic transformation, that the singularity and totality of capitalism that makes it so hopeless. Capitalism presents itself the singularity and sense of having no period equivalent as to genesis or economic form. Capitalism have no true analog. Slavery, independent capital, commodity production, feudalism, social pyramid, communism, and other forms of economy all have systemic properties and the ability to reproduce and expand themselves. Capitalism takes on its full form as the natural outcome of the integrally driven growth, rather than oriented unity gives capitalism the peculiar power to regenerate itself and even to subsume its moments of crisis requirements of the continued growth and development. On the case. On relations, lifting the embargo against economic engagement solves relations, Cuba's economy and democratic stability. Whiting in 13. The U.S. embargo against Cuba has failed in their relation toward Cuba. The time has come to reform relations with Cuba. The Cuban embargo should be lifted to all USSR and Cuban relations troubled the U.S. 50 years ago. The relationship is no longer an issue. The president stated he should continue the embargo. The embargo sees the Castro regime more than Cuba's chance of democratization. Lifting the embargo started the initial strategy in democratizing Cuba by strengthening the Cuban middle class. The U.S. can critically push Cuba further down the path of democratization, opening up the markets. And Cuba, Castro's communism shall eventually crumble. The lack of a strong middle class increases Cuba's chance of democratizing and enables Castro to continue his oppression. The U.S. can stimulate the Cuban economy and can encourage reform from the bottom up. And their only argument on this is that there are multiple clauses. Their Elite 13 card prefer our evidence that Tisdale 13 says removing the embargo is key to relations. Onto the economy, they read a card that says that economic decline is inevitable in a crisis of capitalism, but the plan solves for the economy and the perm solves for capitalism prospects. Really bad.
So the plan solves for econ and what on the last point?
And the perm solves for capitalism. Way too many cards in there.
And the Williams 5 card in public health.
You mean on cap?
Oh.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
How does our ethic or ethics allow infinite violence?
Because just saying that by, the alt, by doing nothing, that allows for violence to keep happening because we need to do something because violence is happening in the status quo.
Do you believe in political action?
In political action?
Yes.
What do you mean? I believe it's a thing? Yes.
At all costs, do you think political action is the a priori
Not necessarily. I think it's important, but it's not necessarily. I mean, that's like one of our firms is due to all in the plan, so it's not necessarily the most important thing, but we definitely defend political action.
So you would agree that the political action of Al Qaeda to pull infidels in the country is right. That's
No.
political action.
I'd say any political action is good. I'd say, well thought out, constructive political action in some cases is good, but not all political action is good.